Hey there, and welcome to the podcast Tiling Connect, hosted by Mark Moskwa. This show is designed to connect people with the best information intended to strengthen the business of tiling. To keep up to date with all the episodes, don't forget to subscribe.
Tiling Connect is brought to you by Lux's Grates, the leaders in aluminium drainage, which is UV stable, rust-proof and customisable on-site. Available at your local tile or plumbing store Australia-wide. Hey everybody, Mark here from Tiling Connect. Welcome to today's episode. I have another incredible guest on the show today. With me I have Guy Thompson, who is the CEO and founder of a new app called Crewmen. So we're going to deep dive into that today. Would love to start by just welcoming Guy along, and thanks for being here.
It's great to be here and looking forward to the program.
Awesome, mate. Well, look, Guy, you and I don't know each other intimately like I do some of my past guests. So I'd love to really find out more about you and a bit of your background, mate. So if you could share away, I'm sure that some amazing questions will come up as we go.
Yeah, sure. So I've been working on this app, Crewmen, for about 18 months now. I mean, it's always work in progress. But previously to that, I spent 23 years in the financial services industry. And when I sold my business a couple of years ago, and the main reason for selling it was to bring this idea to life that I had, which was Crewmen. So I've been thinking about it for a number of years, sort of prior to that. So almost probably going back 5 years, really.
Yeah, wow.
There was a seed there that I was sort of gently kind of watering every now and then, and just seeing what else would come out of some brainstorming about this. But it really came down to being I guess almost halfway through my life. I might be more than that, I might be less, I'm not too sure. There must be something close to it, and just thinking to myself, what I think, when you get to sort of your mid-40s, you start to reflect on what life's been like, the good times and not so good times, and then also what life might be like ahead for you. And what do you like as a person now as opposed to what you were 5, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And then how's that then going to affect the future? Having more experience in life and business and relationships and all sorts of things. So all of that sort of thinking and analysis, I guess that's sort of 5 or so years ago, really led me to thinking that although I'd had some fantastic times, I'd also had some pretty bleak times. And for some reason I just thought, life is short, and what is it about these bleak times that sort of affected me the most, and what could I have changed if I could have gone back in time and done that sort of thing. And what I found is that a lot of the analysis that I did led to the fact that there were quite a lot of frequent periods during my life up to then where I'd experienced a fair bit of disconnection with friends and that sort of and it was really no fault of anyone's. It was just literally changes in circumstances and situations. Also evolving as a person and people, and all of us evolving in what we need to be and what we're trying to be and things like that, and it really steers everybody in all these different directions. And so you get a lot more responsibilities when you get older, and time gets less and less. So what you do with that time becomes just so much more valuable.
Yeah.
And I felt that I spent all this valuable time on my own. And, I got through all that with exercise and, my children, and being focused on that and working really hard. But there are a lot of moments there I just, I didn't really have any other sort of outlets with mates to, go, do some fishing or some surfing, or go for a beer and a barbie and, catch up with kids. And I felt that was one thing, that really sort of affected me deeply about how I'd gone sort of this far in life, but there'd still been a reasonable chunk in there that wasn't satisfying. And there was nothing out there that was addressing all of that. And when I looked into a lot of other statistics and what mental health meant, and wellbeing and connection and stuff, I found that there was it wasn't just happening to me, it was happening not just in Australia, all over the world as well. So my journey up to sort of this point was being invested in my career and thinking that was, the right thing for me, and it probably was for a period of time, but then also thinking that life was really short, and what could I do to make, the things that didn't happen well in my life not happen to other blokes, in their life too. So, and then that's sort of where we led to the creation of Crewmen, and I'm really trying to address, what I think is going to be a really fantastic sort of way for men in the future to stay connected and supported throughout their entire life, no matter what circumstance or situation they're in.
Bravo. I mean, there's a lot to be said for someone that takes a lot away from learning experiences in their past to create something that's going to be incredibly valuable for today and in the future for other people, particularly around that mental health space and in other aspects of life as well. So connecting people is critical, and having the right network around you is really important. And I share some of the very similar things with you in the past. I think everyone's been through. Everyone chooses their own path, and sometimes things get thrown in front of us that we don't expect, and we have to learn how to deal with that. And a lot of the times you don't have people around you that understand, and I think up until even recently, I'm probably spitballing here, but I think up until even recently in the last decade, it's been really hard to have those conversations around that mental health space, because a lot of people have just, it hasn't been socially accepted to have a conversation, particularly as a man, to do that. So good on you, mate. That's brilliant.
Thanks very much.
And you mentioned before before I get into the Crewman App, because there's going to be a lot of questions that I've prepared today. You mentioned before you got kids. That's great. Obviously, they've been, your shining light for you in how you've lived.
Yeah, absolutely. Being a father is the most important thing to me in my life, over and above any sort of career or anything else that I have, and it always will be. I had a mixed kind of childhood, and what I took away from that is that I don't want my children to experience the things, the negative things that I did, and I wanted to really create this terrific atmosphere for them to create a good, strong self-esteem from a young age, so that they're more resilient when they're older. Give them as many opportunities as I could in life to explore themselves and what their passions are and what they're good at, so that in life when they get older, they know that that's the number one thing. From my experience is that, growing up, I never really had the freedom or the opportunity to explore that, and that sort of left me quite lost a few times as to figuring out, why I was put here and what was I good at and what did I want to do. And I want them to feel very strong in that way. So we have a terrific, fun household. We do heaps of things together. We take risks, we take challenges, and we encourage each other. And it's just it's the thing that I live for the most is being a dad.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome, man. I feel you. I've got 3 of my own, and I've even got a grandson now. So you wouldn't pick it looking at my face.
Not at all.
But my daughter had little Harry about 15 months or so ago now, and that was one of the inspirations behind me getting back home to Queensland after COVID decimated Victoria there for a bit. I think they're recovering, but it was hard going with all the borders shut and that. And then I just I was like, I'm not going to take the risk of not moving back home to watch my grandson grow up. I've sort of missed enough of my kids' lives for the past decade and special events, and it was sort of that turning point in life where I went, look, it's time to go home and change the environment and press the reset button and fast forward, and here I am today doing a podcast. And who would have thought that?
I'm sure she'd love that. I'm sure she'd love that support. Family is really important.
Yeah, but she's great. I had dinner with her the other night. Funny story. I'm a bit of a coffee drinker, and I love a cuppa in the morning. It sort of I know that there's people that don't, people that do, and my daughter has been one of these people that has never ever ever had wanted to try coffee. She's just never. There's 2 things that she's not big at. Coffee's one of them, And we had dinner with her the other night, and she's like, I got up the other day and I had to have a coffee. So it was she's
right.
26, for a 26-year-old. It's the first time she's had coffee, and now she's addicted. So,
what did she have? She would have had to have been a good one.
Oh, I'm not sure, but she's a teacher, so she's now finding that coffee gets her through the days. But
yeah,
I just find it very interesting how it's how different people walk through life, right?
Yeah,
and they experience things at different times. And 26-year-old just discovering coffee, I'm thinking it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I'm not sure how you missed it, but anyway, she's there now.
Amazing. Good on you.
Mate, let's get into the Crewman app. And let's talk about that. I'm really interested to know more about how it works. And you mentioned a number of things before. Was there sort of a biggest lesson that you learned that and whether it's recently or a little bit longer ago, that was the inspiration behind just how you get to that, that thought process, and then you get to that part where you're about to press a green light, go, I've got to do this. Was there a lesson there?
I think there was probably a build-up of lots of things that had happened, in my life, to the point where I thought, I need to do this, not just for me, but for a lot of other people. But I think it was really, I felt a bit, it's hard because everybody has their own journeys and their own lives and things like that they're doing, that, their busy things come up. But I felt like, I had limited opportunities to catch up with people, but I think I was quite, patient and things like that. But it got to the point where it was happening, the last sort of couple of years in particular, happening even more often than not. And I think it was, the friends that I had with their families and their careers, but the things that we'd organise would be cancelled. And this was sort of, it was post-COVID. But I just thought, I don't want to, I love my friends, I always will, and they're terrific, and they'll always be my friends, but I need more connection. I need more people around that I can connect with, and because I don't feel satisfied that this is the kind of life I want to lead until life's too short. There's too many great things to be experiencing. There's a lot of happiness and joy out there to be had if you can just tap into it. So it was probably a combination of a lot of sort of cancellations and things like that, but in particular that sort of tipped me over the edge in the end to create Crewmen.
It's a really interesting point you make. I have very, very similar thought process around that. It's one of the things that I find hard to comprehend when people cancel, but and it makes it's I suppose it's a bit disheartening, right? You sort of like, and particularly when you get a little bit more experienced in life, and as I am with you, I'm 46, so I don't know if I'm at my halfway point yet. But you put a lot of energy and effort in, particularly when you get older, and then when things just go, people, and stuff happens in life. You can't blame anybody for those sorts of things. But when it happens so frequently, you get really disheartened and lose the energy for wanting to organise the next event, and then it sort of spirals, and you end up in this place, which we're going to talk about now. So, which is like what you've developed. So,
and I think just on that point too, I think what I wanted to do as well with this app is that when we're in those situations a lot, you can also find that you can put pressure on existing relationships and friends. And that's what you want to avoid, because there is no right and wrong, and we're all doing our things. So by widening our social networks and having more people to connect with, we don't have to feel that people are letting us down. We just simply, call up somebody else to see what they're up to, and do other things, and we can keep those other friendships alive without the pressure. And so I think that was really important for me too. But so I created what I thought about with this app is, okay, if I take my situation, and what would be the perfect scenario for me. And I'm a busy person, I have sort of high expectations, and and I'm fairly motivated and all those sorts of things. So I guess something would have to really impress me to want to use it. And so I wanted to put crewmen under the pump and make sure that if I was going to put it out there, it was something that I would gladly use, frequently. So that way, I think if my expectation of this user experience was high, then it would hopefully address a lot of people's sort of what they think it might want to be to be usable. So we created lots of intricate algorithms at the back, pulling people together in similar situations and circumstances. But the main thing is that a lot of the research I did, but also my a lot of the gut feeling that I had is that people, blokes in particular, we love catching up and doing fun things together, hobbies and interests. And if you're in an environment where you're feeling confident and relaxed, then that's really the first step in opening yourself up to new friendships and new possibilities and things like that. So I thought that needed to be the way to go. If we were going to meet new people, it would need to be tailored in an environment where we could create a small event, which we call a call out, that focused on a particular hobby or interest that we have, and invite people to join it. So that therefore everybody that was coming was obviously also confident in that space too, and it's just creating a really good foundation for camaraderie and conversation. And when you're in that great space, it also it allows you to be in that, have an opportunity to express any other sorts of things that are going on in your life as well. So I wanted it to be the foundation for fun and great friendships, but also the potential to connect a bit deeper on other things if that's what you want to do. But it obviously doesn't have to be that, but it's got the right sort of ingredients for it. So we that was the main thing, and when I looked at what wellbeing meant, I thought I want to address wellbeing in particular as well, because I know that connection fits part of that. So I looked at what wellbeing meant and what else crewmen could do, and that's where I found that volunteering was actually a really great way to achieve a sense of fulfilment and connection to the community. I hadn't done a lot of volunteering up until a few years ago, because not because I didn't want to, it's just because I found it very difficult to find the time. The events that were on or that I was exposed to were never the days and times that I could do it. So what I thought is that I could bring volunteering events to the members and allow them the opportunity to scroll through and pick something that fitted their time schedule, because that way there was much more opportunity that they'd be able to get involved. If they haven't been involved before in volunteering, they'll get they'll have a fantastic time, because they'll realise what fulfilment really means, giving back to the community and making a difference. And it's quite addictive. It's it's a fantastic feeling, and also feel more connected to the community. So we'd save time by allowing people to be able to look through those opportunities and find something that fits in with them. And then obviously being ex sort of financial services, we are sort of constantly thinking about financial matters, but I thought maybe there's a way too that we can address financial well-being too in this app. And that's where I went down along the lines of thinking, well, if I can just save people a few $100s a year, then that could go a long way, especially in particular, some people. It could be a weekend away with your family at a nice bed and breakfast, or it could be a fantastic Christmas. Giving your kids finally getting that fantastic bike they've been bugging you for 3 or 4 years. If I can do that, then that's going to be fantastic. So we're still growing those numbers, but we've got 9 retail partners on board now, like SipChip Auto and UltraTune and 99 Bikes, and they're offering some fantastic discounts on their products and services. So, so basically, this app now focuses on the connection, which was the key issue, fulfillment and sense of community through the volunteering, and then some financial savings addressing that side too. So it's actually become a wellbeing app focused on connecting men, and that's sort of how it's been put together.
Well, you've certainly answered a few of my startup questions. You're on a roll there, so I didn't want to interrupt. Mate, thank you for sharing so much. It's really, there's some awesome stuff there. I mean, obviously you've got the ingredients of a fantastic cake mix all brought together under the one app. Obviously addressing that connection issue. Mental health support, if and when people want to discuss that sort of stuff, the volunteering side of things, and obviously the financial management as well, which again can be a very stressful situation for a lot of people. And even talking about it, today it's probably more accepted because it's out there more in the media, and where our minds are just continually bombarded with everything that's going on in the world. It doesn't matter what you do, whether you turn on a TV or you've got a device in your hand or your computer's on. The minute you go onto any sort of site, you get bombarded with advertising about what's happening in the news. So it's very, very difficult to escape any of those sort of areas. So it's really important to have that network. And I downloaded Crewman the other day, and I noticed that on there about the volunteer stuff. That was really cool how that popped up. And when the events are there, that you can actually subscribe to go and be involved in one if the timing works for you, right?
That's right, exactly right.
Mate, what's been one of the biggest challenges that you faced since launching Crewman? It's about 18 months ago, right? Was when it kicked off? Or that was sort of
that's when we started creating it. It launched in February this year.
Oh, February. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, so I guess some of the biggest challenges in creating it was I think making sure that we had what I thought was a very user-friendly product that addressed all of the issues that I thought needed to be addressed. But so it was a lot of back and forth with the app developers, a lot of time involved. But I think I'd never created an app before. I didn't, so this was a big steep learning curve for me.
How did you find the learning experience? Was it like
straight up?
It was vertical.
Yeah. There was no gentle incline. It was just as soon as I stepped in that world, it was just foot down and flat out. And I was learning. I was giving feedback. I was doing everything I possibly could to keep it moving as fast as I could. So effectively working on it 7 days a week for must have been sort of 15 to 16 months now to get to where it is now. But I think the other challenges I had too was when you're trying to provide these discounts to people, I had to do a lot of hard yards in trying to get through to CEOs and general managers and operations managers, and you've got to go through lots of different people to get to the decision makers, and that was incredibly challenging. I had to sell the vision of a product that hadn't even gone to market, and really relate what I was trying to do to very influential sort of people. So it took a hell of a lot of energy and consistency and delivering on all the information that they needed in a timely manner. And so that was probably the biggest challenge. And I think when I got to Christmas last year, I was absolutely shattered and looked like a wreck.
Wow.
But when I went on holiday, I took a week off and took my children down to this beach house, and we spent a week there. Without any of that, I started to come back to life again and get a bit of color back, and get lots of rest. And I really realized after that trip, I looked in the mirror and I thought, you've really been putting 110% into this, and it's good on, sort of, I suppose, good on you, pat on the back for doing it. But you can look yourself in the mirror and go, you are trying 100% to make this happen. And so there were some big challenges there. And then we obviously, with the volunteering partners too, it's the same sort of thing. They had their reputations on the line, and there were memorandums of understandings that need to be signed. There were lots of boxes that need to be ticked, and trying to have their logos on our website is a really big thing. So we had to prove ourselves again, sell the vision, and make sure that we adhere to all of their requirements and things. So it was really, really constant, sort of really, 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 really hard work, and trying to bring it all together.
There's a lot to be said for perseverance, and there's also a lot to be said for having a break at the end of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel you. But good on you, mate. It's that's an awesome journey, and yeah, definitely, obviously, a lot of hard yards. I can only imagine the sort of preparation that you would have had to have been involved in for every single meeting that you would have needed to walk into to have a conversation with someone about sponsoring or being involved as a partner in the program. So that those conversations are always they're not easy, but they're challenging, and they do push us out of our comfort zone, which is great. But certainly, I can imagine you would have been you would definitely have needed a break last year.
No, it's been a really great journey, but I think the thing is that I've started a business before, and I knew the sort of hard work that goes into it. So I'd been there before. I knew what it was going to take. It's just that starting all over again and doing that again, is massive, and you just need to be sure that that's the path you want to take, because you can't go back, and you've got to put absolutely everything into it to make it happen.
Awesome. Cool. Are you looking for a water drainage solution that serves its purpose and adds a touch of elegance to your space? Lux's Grates are here to revolutionise your indoor and outdoor applications. Whether it's your shower, bathroom, balcony, pool, or any other area, Lux's Grates is the ideal choice. It's a quick and easy installation that you can bang out in just over an hour. Their standard grates offer a classic and timeless look, while their next generation style adds a modern twist to your space. Lux's grates are made of high quality anodised aluminium, ensuring durability and longevity. Talking more about the app, like the specificity of how it functions and operates, and I know you've covered off a few things already, so I apologise if it seems like a bit of a loaded question.
That's okay.
Are there particular types of events that people can subscribe to or send a call out for on there? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. So when you actually go on and you register, you go through the registration process. Part of that is registering, minimal personal information. We don't want to hold any of that sort of too much information about that. It's just more sort of age and your interests and your location. But when you go on and register, you register all of the interests that you enjoy doing or would like to try. So there might be 4, 6, 8 of those. And then you also put in the interests that you would like to go to from other people making call outs.
Nice.
So that's sort of the way that you start the whole process. Then, it's as simple as picking a day and a time to pursue a particular type of hobby or interest, and then sending out that invitation. And then people seeing that, and that the algorithm then takes it to other people who are in a similar age bracket. That's the only thing you can really change a lot of to try and bring it more relatable, I guess, is the age group. So if you've set your age group to say, if you're 45, to say 40 to 50, then it will go out to all the 40 to 50-year-olds who have similar interests to the one that you're posting as an event, and it's up to them if they want to accept a call out and join you. But once they're in the call out, you can talk to one another. So you can get to know each other before the actual event. So there might be 2 weeks leading up to it. You can jump in and say, "How you going? I'm looking forward to the day," or "It looks like it's going to be hot. Should we bring some drinks? What are you guys wearing?" Or something like that. And
cool.
And then it sort of allows you to get sort of warm with people before you meet, and then hopefully that helps too when you do actually meet. But I guess it's kind of as simple and easy as that. But to make those call outs.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. Yep. Very cool. I know, like February's only felt like it was yesterday, but we're into June already. Have you received what sort of feedback have you received so far from the users that has helped you shape the app differently for the future? Yeah,
I mean, it's obviously only been 3 months, but the feedback that we've had has been all very positive.
Yeah, cool.
The main things that I think people, and there's certain events that have been more popular than others, but the main feedback we're getting is, are we going to be having any sort of larger networking days? So
nice.
I think that that's always been in the pipeline for us. We'd like to be able to hold an event in every state and just sort of get together, get people together where they can meet one another in more of a group event. And also speak to some of our sponsors, our partners.
Mm.
And we'd like to get some guest speakers in there too to have a bit of a talk about, their own lives too, and hopefully people can take something away from that. So that's what we're working on at the moment, and that's in the short term, in the future, to be able to do that. But yeah, it's all been very positive. People like how easy it is to use. And that was one thing that was really important to me. It couldn't be complicated. It needs to be something you could pick up, go bang, bang, bang. You can make a call out in less than 60 seconds.
Yeah, wow.
It's got a calendar which shows you which events are coming up. It tells you, you can be interested in events, but you don't really have to go and then put out hours out. It'll remind you, do you still want to go? And, we're going to be sending out push notifications to make sure people jump on and make call outs or attend an event that's coming up, which we think will be worthwhile. So we're going to be a little bit more interactive as it grows too. So,
yeah, wow, that's very cool, mate. Obviously, the industry that Tiling Connect is involved in is the tiling industry predominantly. We're our industry is very, very male heavy, or male dominant, as they call it. We are seeing a strong emergence of female workers coming into the space, which is terrific. I know a handful of them myself, and they're amazing contractors.
Yep.
What do you think? How do you think this sort of app can help people in that game where it's very, very male dominated, like the tiling game, or it can be any trade really? I mean, obviously, you just look at the work that TX has done, who have been on the show previously, and I know it's in a little bit of a different space, but same but different. They're not an app so much, but certainly working very heavily in that mental health space through their experiences. So, share with us, how do you think that can help a tiling contractor out there?
Yeah, well, I think that the most of the contractors I've known, whether they've been tilers, plumbers, carpenters, builders, all those sorts of things, that to me they've always come across as very hardworking people and quite driven. You can make a great living out of being in that sort of holding those sorts of positions, and you can also work quite independently, I think, as well, it appears. So I think that Crewman's great for that sort of industry, because it means that people in the tiling industry, they can work hard to forge successful lifestyle in that position, but not be worried if it's taking them too far out of their social circles, because the fact that they're working long hours, or they're working on weekends, or that they're getting stuck in. I think people don't need to be too afraid anymore of making those choices to really pursue what they want to do in life, without being concerned about I guess losing friendship groups and things by doing them. We can keep those, but we can also pursue our careers and other opportunities, knowing that there's another platform out there that you can tap into to just keep widening those social circles, so that when you're not working hard and your other friends perhaps aren't available, you can still get some respite and re-energize by catching up with blokes who are in a similar situation. So I think Crewman Crewman can be a lifelong journey for people.
Yeah.
No matter what their situation is, they can tap in there when they're at a loose end, or they've had a change of situation. It's always going to be there to be able to almost rescue, in a way, people to make sure that they don't endure periods of disconnection, and they've always got networks to jump in and socialize with. So that should be able to give them confidence to keep going really hard at life. And no matter what the situation is, there's going to be a platform there that can provide you with connection all the time.
And I think some really excellent points that you make there, particularly today. We're obviously seeing a lot of things happening in the global space, but also the local space here in Australia. We're going through record inflation rates, high. The interest rates are climbing every month. There's a lot of construction and building companies not surviving in that space, and the net effect of that is a lot of the workers out there, as well as the homeowners as well, and the employees of those businesses that don't make it. So it's tough going out there, right? So they really need, it's convenient when you've got a computer open to sit there and try and connect with someone, but it's also very, very challenging. But if you've got just an app there that can give you, it's at your fingertips, right? So you don't really have any excuses. If you want to go and do something on a Monday night with somebody, you can basically connect very, very quickly and easily, and start a new journey.
That's right. And you can also, plan ahead. So, you might see an opportunity coming up in 3 weeks' time when you've got the weekend off or you've got a night off. So you can jump in there and create a call out. So, you've actually got, something's there and you've got something really great to look forward to. You can say, you know what, that night's covered. I can't wait. Excellent. I'm going to work really hard through the next couple of weeks, do all the things I need to do, and know that I've got a reward there waiting for me. Nice. So, it's just having all these great things to look forward to. That just keep you going, from week to week throughout the year, and keep you feeling, great and happy.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well done. I love it. I have subscribed. I'm certainly not. I haven't deep dived into it yet, but certainly it's on my agenda for the next couple of weeks. In between everything else that I do. Tell me about, what does the rest of 2023 look like for Crewmen and for yourself? There's some big things coming up. What's happening?
We've got we're going to continue to introduce new partners for people to save money on Crewmen. We're looking forward to creating some of those larger networking events as well, and also we've got some great ambassadors coming on board too, which we'd like to create some events with too. So it's looking quite exciting, and the idea is just to keep creating the awareness for Aussie men out there, which is what we do day in, day out, and making sure that every man out there has the opportunity to see it and try it and just have a go, because we're trying to create a new initiative and a bit of a solution. So it's important for us that we just really try and keep trying to create the awareness in Australia about what we're doing, so that every man does have the opportunity to experience. So it's just a day in the life of Crewmen is constantly trying to break down barriers and try to find corporates and large groups that can introduce this app to their members to try and make a difference. And that's just what we do as hard as we can every single day at the moment.
Awesome, mate. Yeah. Sounds like a pretty exciting 6 months in front of you. That's cool.
So. We're good. Looking forward. Lots of hard work as usual, but every day is we get more members, and it's just nice to see all the things just slowly falling in place, which is great.
Cool, very cool, mate. We've hit that point in our show where we love to ask our guests a few fast track questions. So I'm going to fire a few at you, and just want to get to know you a little bit more, and share that with our audience, our broader community. I think really
I was wondering what those were.
Don't worry, mate. You'll be fine. Our broader audience loves hearing more about our guests and who they are, and I think that for me, developing Tiling Connect is all about connecting people. Not just on a surface level, but also a deeper level as well. And I think we've had some really amazing guests on in the past that have shared some cool stuff. So look, I think for me, one thing that I always think about a lot is about mentors and people that have helped shape who I am in life. And what would you say is who has been a mentor for you in growing up and what you've done?
It's really interesting that you should bring that up, because one of the things I thought to myself about today, when I was reading through your questions, is what are some of the things that I think are really important in life for people, and mentors. Wow, how much of a difference that they can make. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't have a lot of mentors in my life when I grew up, and I think that's where that's what caused some issues for me later. I didn't really have people that I could, bounce off and talk to, and occasionally someone would come into my life for a few months who I sort of looked up to and would give me some advice, and I felt that really helping me a lot in making decisions and helping me move forward. But I would, I've had to learn a lot of things sort of, the hard way, I think, to a degree. And if there's anything that I could say out there, in particular to the young blokes when they leave school, work, find your mentors, find some great mentors, and let that be one of the things that's, the things that you need to tick off when you leave school. There's 10 things that you need to do in the first year. Let that be one of them. Go on a surf trip, find a good mentor, because it can make a significant difference in your outlook in life, and also probably, save you a lot of time in finding, many things out that might just, have a really quicker, sooner, more positive effect in your journey. I think our mentors are incredibly important.
Yeah. Such an important topic, right? Mentors. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to have some really powerful ones earlier in my life. I went through probably similar to you. I didn't have a ton of mentors, and certainly I experienced some challenges in my youth when I was growing up. And when I've found the right people, it just helps keep you on the right path. Fairly appropriate advice on some things that you should and shouldn't do, and it's incredible.
Yeah, number one thing is mentors are incredibly important. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Tell me about some productivity hacks. Have you got any for us? What helps you get things done quicker, faster, better?
Look, I've been a massive believer in task lists. That's being organized also creates freedom.
Yep.
That's number one thing for me, is finding pockets of freedom where I could be myself, do my own thing, and have fun, because everything around that is hard work.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in being super organized every single day. I've still got records going back 15 years, and I have what's called a daily task list. I have an ongoing task list and a daily task list. Ongoing task list might have 200 things on there. I might only do one of them a year. I might do one of them 3 times a year, but every day I'm moving through that ongoing list with dates pushed out ahead. I carry those over into my daily task list, consolidate the things just from that day, and then if it's super intense, I'll then order those from least important to most important. And having that method every day has enabled me to be super organized and super efficient. It takes dedication to do that every single day, and some days just like, the list, okay, I've got to do it. But you know what, there hasn't been many days at all in the last 15 years where I haven't done it. And I've kept them all, and they're almost like my daily task that starts off nice and clean with a dozen things on there and ends up with scribble all over it, but that's my trophy. Every day, that is my trophy. I look back and I think, what, that's a solid day's work. Pat yourself on the back. You've done the best that you can. And I've got all these trophies now going back 15 years. So that, to me, is, don't, if you're really well organized, you'll stay on top of all your work, but you'll also create pockets of freedom for yourself to enjoy yourself. And that's just as important. So, maintain the organization and maintain the opportunities for freedom throughout the week to do the things that you love.
Awesome. Love it. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
See, that's a good question. You know what I've been eating a lot of over the last 12 months is spaghetti.
Oh, wow. Okay. I would never have picked that.
Well, you know what? It's so easy to heat up, and eat on the run, although I don't do that because it's not very healthy.
No, of course.
I love, I try to eat healthy, but I cook a lot of roast beefs too, and I use the meat and sandwiches throughout. But I do. Oh, nice. I really like fruit chocs as well.
Yeah, cool.
Have you heard of them?
No.
chocolate with like apricot kind of stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
And they're my go-to when I need a quick burst of energy. Yeah, the free chocks. It's a
Hey.
South Australian thing.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Is it? You guys have got a supermarket down there called Drake's, I think it isn't.
Yeah,
Isn't
that's
it?
right.
Yeah, yeah,
Drake's.
yeah. You're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Drake's.
they're in there. I saw
Yeah,
them. I've seen them slowly infiltrating interstate.
yeah.
So the word's spreading.
I'll have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah,
I'm always a fan of trying new stuff. So,
yeah, they're gold.
yeah, awesome. Mate, final fast track question. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be?
I've spent, I've spent a lot of time in Bali because of my surfing background. I think I have a sort of an affinity to there. When I go to Bali, I stay away from the more condensed parts like Kuta and Ligan. I tend to go the other side of the island where it's much more calmer. There's less tourists and less people. But I just, for bang for buck, I would have to say that for its climate, its food and its culture, and its amazing beaches and lifestyle. That's it'd have to probably be my favourite place. I mean, I could live there. I could retire there pretty easily, I reckon.
I've never been there. I've only seen all of these younger people that are posting all the stuff on social media about how great it is to live on $1 a day and all this sort of stuff. And I've been to countries in the world that are like that. I've been to Vietnam, Cambodia, and they're beautiful. The people are beautiful. The places are amazing.
Yeah,
but I've never been to Bali.
Yeah, if you treat their culture with respect and learn a bit about it and do that sort of thing too, then you can really familiarize yourself with it and feel more part of it. And that's what we do when we go there with my children. We know Balinese families and we spend time with them each day and doing what they do. And so we feel a real affinity, but we also immerse ourselves in that culture and make sure that we know that, we learn about the things that we're grateful for back home, that we don't have there as well. So it's all part of it.
Very cool. Mate, I'm just going to pick up on something that you said before. You mentioned also about your surfing background. Is there something you haven't told us? Were you surfing professionally when you were younger?
You know what? I wasn't, but it was a dream of mine.
Yeah,
for sure. I think I picked up a stick when I was 12. But I'd always had a fairly sporty background and was a good strong swimmer and spent a lot of time in the ocean. But I picked it up fairly quickly, and I think when I was 15, I was surfing in state schoolboys titles, and by the time I was 18, I was probably solid, pretty solid. But I think the problem that I had was unfortunately back then I didn't really have the encouragement and support that I probably felt that I needed, and I think that's where I started to second guess myself, and so my potential sort of surfing career was slightly diminished by no, you need to work. That's you can't make a living from that, and all these sorts of things. Unfortunately, I wasn't strong enough to say, well, that's what I'm going to do anyway. So,
yeah.
but I maintain it. It's something that really grounds me. When I haven't been in the ocean for a few days, I just feel this really strong pull to it.
Yeah.
And when I go out there and I come back, it re-energizes me. So it's really my go-to. It's my meditation place as well. It's where I go to rejuvenate. And I get a lot of a thrill from it. And my son's surfing now, and he's only 10, but he's already extremely competent. So it's going to be great to see him in a few years' time ripping around and running rings around me.
You'll be able to encourage him however you like, to continue and pursue that when he gets older, if that's what he wants to do, if that's what you choose to do. And that's a beauty of learning about life, right? I look at the 3 kids that I have, and my parents did an amazing job with me and my 4 other siblings, and giving us fantastic advantages in life, and providing a roof over our head and all that sort of stuff, and you learn from that to be able to then share that with your kids and then encourage them to do what they want to do. So
and it's nice for them to be able to have something they can always go back to, no matter what was happening in life, that they know that they can get a lot of enjoyment and satisfaction from. And they're things that we need to keep us going sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Guy, that is pretty much a wrap for me today on questions. And I want to thank you sincerely for being a part of the show today. I know it's very early for you guys in your app development, but a lot of hard work has gone into that by the sounds of what you've shared with us today. And just a big congratulations for getting to this point. You know, obviously there's a lot of hard work that goes into building apps. I've never done it myself. And now hopefully you can enjoy some more fun times in this sort of stuff and getting the messaging out there.
Yeah.
If one of the things that we love to do is obviously put everything in show notes and make sure that people have got the right information. If people want to connect with you directly and or find out more about Crewmen, what's the better way for them to go about doing that?
So we have a hello@crewmen.co, so they can just email us anytime. We check that daily. Instagram, you can jump on there and follow us, and lots of our followers are always messaging questions through to us on that too, which is great. So me and Kyle are taking care of that.
Nice.
So there's a couple of ways, and if you want to download the app and give it a go, you can go onto the Google Play or the App Store. So
Nice.
2 different options there, and download it and jump on and just give it a go. There's I think there's only positivity that can come out of it, and I just I really just hope it makes a significant difference to a lot of blokes out there. That's what the goal was, and that's what we're trying to make sure it does.
Yeah, good on you, mate. No, look, I'm positive it will. And again, thanks for being here today. It's a real pleasure having you on the show. So,
thank you very much for having me. It's been great talking with you. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Awesome, guy. Until next time, mate, stay connected.
Thank you. Yep. Cheers. Thank you again.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Tiling Connect. Don't forget to rate and review this podcast. To see more of Tiling Connect, jump on our socials and follow us via LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. If you'd like to be part of the show, email us at tilingconnect@gmail.com. Until next time, stay connected.